Happy Labor Day, everyone. I hope everyone is enjoying a well-deserved day off or enjoy your family members being off work for a change. Whatever the case may be, I hope it has been a good Monday for everybody. But I am still in the mood to get some work done, so we're going to work on Labor Day anyway, and I will give you a review of Telemocha Beast Wars Tigatron. Yep, again, it is the Japanese anniversary line, which means heavy amounts of repainting in order to make something look as show accurate as possible. And we're going to go through one of the original Beast Wars toys. Look at that. Tigatron, I will admit, not always the most accurate of Beast Wars toys. Yes, of course, he is supposed to be a white tiger, but this is a Cheetor mold. So it's not quite a cheetah, it's not quite a tiger, it's some generic space in between where it can kind of look like both, but kind of looks like neither at the same time. Unlike the US release, which was cast in this cream-colored plastic, here, of course, we see it is snow white, as properly seen in the show. Now, you could look at the stripes and just dismiss this as either randomized or maybe this is how the original toy looked and they just reused it, but that is not true. While it is not completely accurate, the striping, especially around in the face, was redone to match the show as well as it could. This is not the original striping pattern. Telemocha went to pretty extreme lengths to make sure this was as close as they could get it on this mold. It maybe could have been a little bit closer, but a lot of the little details are there. A lot of the little marks that Tigatron had on his head are represented here, and I can already see a lot of just small touches of attention. Not only the green eyes to match how he looked in the show, but also a brown nose, as well as some cream white teeth to set them apart. Lot of attention to detail, and I'm really a fan of all of that. Now, I will admit, being a early run Beast Wars toy, there's not really a whole lot he can do from here because there's no ball joints in here. He's got hips here because of transformation. These will become his robot mode legs, but not a whole lot we can do with them now. So there's really, he is something of a brick in beast mode. And really, we really don't want to pay too much attention to Beast Mode because early run Beast Wars toys weren't the best at hiding the robot bits. You know, you can see a gun barrel hanging off of his chest and a big gap in the front. His feet in the rear are obviously way too big to fit into nature. And then, yeah, there's the back of the legs, which are completely robotic. But, you know, I still don't mind it. I like how much work went into making a cheetah toy, which doesn't really look like a cheetah, look like a tiger toy, which still doesn't look like a tiger. But, hey, they tried really hard, and I actually really like this toy done up in the white tiger design. Alright, so now we'll convert the tiger to battle mode, which you don't even need a talking sword for. First off, though, we have to remove his butt and stick it over there because he comes with a lot of onboard weapons. We'll straighten out the legs and flip out what will be the robot mode feet, and that needs to be rotated around. Now from here we will hinge those down, and then comes the arms, which we can then fold out. The pelvis guard, all these fold out, one big hinge, rotation, bend, head, down, and forward in like that. And simple as that, we have Tigatron in his full robot mode. Well, hang on. That would have made me look really stupid. This is one of the reasons I like Beast Wars toys. Provided they can handle their kibble and shell well enough, they go through some really drastic changes. There's a lot of parts hidden in the beast mode that you wouldn't otherwise see, and it leads you to robot modes that have a lot of surprises to them, and that I really appreciate in a Transformer. We're going to take a look at the head, and the head's going to look very familiar, but in order to get a good shot of the head, I will have to angle the beast head down. That way you can actually see, yes, it is Cheetor's head. There's really no mistaking it here. That's pretty much him. In the show, the CG gave him differences to separate them apart, made him look a lot older. Maybe a little bit of paint could have been used to kind of emphasize some of that, but for the most part, yeah, it's just a silver Cheetor head. And just to get out of the way, since it's not really a feature in these toys, if you flip it down for the mutant head, it's just the bare teal plastic. So there's really not a whole lot of hidden gimmick like that. But you know, they did it. At least the colors are all accurate in there. Even a little bit of very pale green and in the crest, just to make sure it stands out a little bit. Now, one of the problems I have with this mold, yeah, his beast head is going to obstruct his face a lot, so I do apologize for that. Try to film these things at kind of a downward angle sometimes, but doesn't always work out. But as I said, there's a lot that was hidden in this mode, and now you can see so much more of this metallic, kind of a minty green, which is really nice color, and one I don't see very often. And a lot of silver paint. Like, the entire bicep here and forearm are completely painted up in silver to match how he looked in the show. Even with areas like that little circle on the elbow, giving it some nice layered details and making a much more intricate look than it would if it was just bare plastic. A lot of good stuff. A little bit of silver on the thigh. Of course, we saw all of this green, but you also see all the silver on the little spines leading up to a silver painted foot. Really a ton of detail. And yes, before you ask, his crotch looks like a giant angry face. Now you will be seeing that for the rest of the review. It even has little beady eyes where the mold marks are. But you can see, I love how much work went into this toy to make it as show accurate as possible. A lot of the details match up a lot better than the original toy. A lot of the color patterns are much more accurate. We do have one sacrifice in that the eyes of the beast mode typically change color when it goes to robot mode. But I don't know, I'm glad they left it alone, because that is more accurate to the beast. For articulation, Beast Wars toys, of course, we're the kings of the ball joints. That's, even though they started in G2, that's where we really know them from. Head rotates around, swivels, and a little bit of... I wish that mutant head gimmick let us do a little bit of looking up, but it does not. Full ball jointed shoulders with great range of motion, bicep swivel, as well as 180-degree elbows thanks to the transformation. We have a waist rotation that does get hindered by the angry face, so we won't be able to get too extreme a pose, but still decent range. Thigh has some good range, a little bit hard to get to a diagonal, but still outward, forward, somewhat to the side. It all works out really well. We have a 90-degree knee, as well as a swivel at the thigh. Nothing as far as ankles go, so you're pretty much just stuck there. So all your basic points of articulation are done very well. Lots of range of motion. Beast Wars toys always had this down. These were always good at this. And this is, again, provided they actually could maintain their kibble, which could usually throw off their weight and make posing something of a chore. Now, we also have the matter of some weapons, don't we? First off, there is the more obvious one that we pulled off of his chest. This is his infamous gut gun, which Cheetor has as well. You can see intestines molded in. This was like so morbid, and in the show they colored him pink. That's weird. I don't know why. I know in combat you use whatever you can for weaponry if you have to. Weaponizing your own intestines, that's new. You can see a little bit more of that metallic green, giving the barrel a little bit of distinctive look, giving him a little bit more color to tie into the rest of his mode, and it's perfectly fine. It doesn't really harm anything. And yes, this is a little bit more of a classic 90s gimmick, because that gut gun actually does have a water bladder, which you can then dunk into water, suck up, and then spray. And if you think I'm reluctant to fire missiles on camera, I'm really reluctant to fire water anywhere near my recording equipment. But that's not his only weapon, as we did remove his butt for a reason. We can fold up the tail, transform it into another gun. Now, this one doesn't have any kind of gimmick to it, but it is added weaponry, and 2 guns on a figure is always appreciated. Not quite as gun-ish because it has that big tail hanging off, though I guess you can view it as kind of a scope or iron sight of some kind, even though the barrel is way lower than necessary for that. But still, it's a nice option to have. I like that they worked in some multiple weaponry. It gives what would otherwise be a pretty plain figure with some pretty basic features a little bit more playability, which is not a bad thing in any circumstance. You know, Beast Wars toys, like, it was more about, oh, hey, it kind of went back to, like, the original Transformers in that most of them didn't really need gimmicks in the first year because the gimmick was your Transformers turned into beasts and animals instead of actual, vehicles and things. It's kind of a back to basics line, and it was really, really popular. It worked out pretty well. They didn't need gimmicks until later. But that is your Telemocha Tigatron. Really, again, thrilled with the Telemocha releases. Like, these were some of my favorite reissues to pick up because I missed out on a lot of Beast Wars. And this was just so much better than going back and getting the old stuff. And just for the record, just because this irks me anytime someone says it, because I've seen in my comments numerous times where someone's claiming, oh, well, they charge too much for deluxes these days that are smaller than Beast Wars basics. Let's put that to bed, shall we? Yeah, I even put a scale to both of these, and Tigatron is lighter. So if you want to keep complaining about how big the toys are right now, we've been there already. And guess what? We came out of it good. Things worked out, and everything got better. So relax. Enjoy it for what it is, not for what it, don't hate it for what it isn't. Which is ironic because I'm about to write a Plastic Addict script, so we'll go back to that now.